Thank you. The second floor apartment, it's another three-bedroom apartment with office, and the third floor is also identical. We have elevations. Again, we have a front elevation where we have the white five-pond details. We have fiber cement siding and the stucco on the lower section of the elevation. We have plenty of glazing, 30% on the front, and 20% on the street-facing side. And then we also have 22% on the eastern elevation and 14% in the rear elevation. So we're complying with the glazing requirements of the city. I would like to share a rendering. This is the rendering from 7th Avenue West. Again, to see the materials. We have the white five-pond trim detail, and then we have the fiber cement siding, both in cedar shake and lap siding to contrast. I'm open to any questions from board professionals.
Chair Richardson, if I may.
Sure.
Mr. Velozzi, can we mark this as Exhibit A1 because this is not the rendering we exactly have?
Of course.
Thank you.
Commissioners, any questions or comments for the architect?
Chair Richardson, we have
Mr.
Yes.
Mr. Trafficante? Let's get him sworn in, Mr. Beck.
Good evening, Mr. Trafficante. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony about to give this board shall be truthful?
I do.
Please just state your name and your affiliation.
My name is Charles Trafficante. I am a principal engineer as well as a professional engineer. I work for the City of Newark Department of Engineering. And my license is active and in good standing at State Board.
Good. We can't see you. We can hear you, but I can't see you.
Yeah, I lost the icon for all of the
Don't
video.
worry. Go ahead. We can certainly hear you.
Mr. Fernandez, in the engineer's report to the board dated June 26th, this is a corner lot, right? So
Yes.
There is no rear yard. It's either front or side yard, depending on what street you're looking at it from. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So is there a problem with shifting this building maybe 30 feet back and putting the parking on the corner on the other side of the building? This way you're away from the T intersection?
But if I was to do that, I would be too close to the other intersection of 14th and 7th Avenue West. I see even bigger problem with exiting and ingressing that driveway if it were to be in the front.
Well, what I'm driving at is if you hold the minimum side yard setback off the next house over on, what's that, North 14th Street?
Mm-hmm.
All right, and shift everything over to meet the minimum. I think we've got meet the 25 feet we need from the extended curb line. And if I'm not mistaken, 7th Avenue and North 14th Street is just a bend. It's not a T intersection. It's not a through intersection. So technically, you're not dealing with a side street across the street on either side. It's just a bend in the road. As opposed to where you're showing it now, where you're at a T intersection, where you can't have cars either coming down North 14th Street or was it Eaton?
Eaton Place.
Eaton Place. All right, so rather than have cars back up into a T intersection, which may or may be busy, may or may not, depending on time of day or night. All right, that your tenants or your property owner decides to pull in or pull out of that driveway. Can you meet the 25 feet if you put the driveway on the other side of the building? Switch, in other words.
I also believe that by doing that, you'll be essentially putting the driveway in the front of the building.
Again, it's a corner lot.
Yes, but you would be directly in the front of the entrance, and that's exactly what the ordinance asks us not to do. Whereas opposed where it is now, it's on the side. It's not really on the front.
Well, like I said, it's a corner lot. depending on what street you're standing on, it's a front yard to one of those two streets, right?
Yes, but if you were to push the building back, like you're saying, and have the driveway in the, well,
Side
closer
yard.
to the corner,
Okay, side yard closer
it won't be a side yard, I believe. It will be a front yard. So the driveway will be on the front yard. Right now, it's on the side yard.
Again, that's if you're looking at it from Seventh Avenue, but you could certainly be looking at it from North 14th Street. We're splitting hairs here. It all depends on what street you're looking at it from. Is that correct? It's subjective. Right? Depending on
Chair. Mind?
Mr. Barry?
Yeah,
Barry?
John. So, Mr. Traficante, I think the issue is not so much the definition of a front yard as as the relationship of the front of the building to where the parking is. So if, as you suggest, Mr. Fernandez were to slide the house to the north and put the parking at the corner of 7th Avenue and North 14th Street, the parking would be in front of the entrance to the house. The orientation of the house is not going to change because of the shape of the lot. So that's what he's saying. I mean, the parking would be in the front yard, which would require a variance.
All right, well, again, you're real close to a T intersection. I think it's just a concern, a valid concern, and unless you reconfigure it or do something, I think it needs, as a condition of approval, would you be willing, and will your client be willing to meet with the Division of Traffic and Signals to discuss this matter further? It doesn't mean that we agree with what you're showing now, but this is something that needs to be resolved, all right, before I get painted in the corner here tonight. All right, this, I need input from my traffic engineers over at Traffic and Signals. I don't know if you, are you licensed as a PTOE, Mr. Fernandez, traffic engineer?
I am not.
No, all right, I just want to ask the question, put that out there, all right. But would your client be willing to meet with the Division of Traffic and Signals as a condition of approval to see what can be done to get away from that T intersection? Something to think about. I don't know, maybe put an attached garage at one end of the building or something like that.
Mr. Velozzi,
Mr. Chairman, if I may, as a condition of approval, we are willing to make the ingress and egress flow with the traffic. In other words, as if it was a one-way street. So if you're leaving this driveway, you'd be going out towards Eaton Place. And if you're coming into the driveway, you'd be coming in from North 14th. So we're willing to do that for safety reasons, and I think that satisfies everyone. As to putting the driveway in the front, I mean, we've brought the property forward so that it coincides with the house next door, and it makes the property more aesthetically appeasing in the front. But whatever the board wants us to do, we will gladly do.
Mr. Belosi, could you clarify as making it, I guess, traffic friendly? Are you talking to limit it to right turn only in, right turn only out?
That's correct, Mr. Traficante.
Okay, and as a condition, would you be willing to make that a condition of approval that,
Yes, sir, I would.
okay, how you gonna enforce it is another story, but. All right, no further questions.
Thank you,
Oh,
Traficante.
Mr. Fernandez, is there anything else in the engineer's report you take issue with?
No, that was it.
That's the only item?
Yes.
Okay, you know what number that was? In the report, for the record?
It was on site plan. And the number.
Mr. Traficante, perhaps you could direct him in the
I
appropriate
believe it was
direction.
item Roman numeral 6.
Next.
Yep.
All right, item 6, site plan, movement rule 6.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
Yes, Chairman, Juma has her hand up.
Hey, everyone. My question is to Mr. Fernandez. I joined a few minutes later, so I might have missed the beginning of your testimony, but did you revise your plans?
No, no.
Do you mind Well, you don't have to bring up the site plan again because it did show that the property was on the property line, but your rendering suggests that it's gonna match your adjacent neighbor. So are you proposing to revise and comply with the front yard setback?
Well, where I see that the neighbor is set back maybe 2-3 feet from the property line. And our proposed structure is on the property line. So I believe that would be a variance.
And my last question is to Mr. Trafficante. In terms of the driveway width, did you have comments towards that, Mr. Trafficante? And I'm asking only because I've seen applicants comply with the 10-foot driveway or 3 spaces in the side yard, similar to this application. So I'm just curious why that couldn't be revised to comply. Did we lose Mr. Trafficante?
He's on, but I can reach out.
As counsel, I'm trying to create the record. I'm just trying to figure out where are we going with this line of questioning and
Well,
to
I'm asking
quantify
because,
and qualify where it's coming from for the record.
sure, again, I'm not a Juma zoning officer. My original question was to Architect Fernandez regarding the front yard setback because the rendering, which he did not provide the office, suggests that the property will be set back. But his site plan doesn't match. It shows that the property is actually on the property line at the front yard. So my question was whether he intended to revise his plans to match the setback of his neighbor. And he answered no, that will remain a variance. And my second question was to the city engineer, Mr. Trafficante, regarding the driveway width, and whether he had any comments or rather suggestions that the applicant reduce the driveway width to comply with the standard. And I didn't receive an answer. Nevertheless, Mr. Chair, those were my only 2 questions.
I
think we have Mr. Trafficante back if we can answer.
By May, Charles Trafficante, Department of City of Newark, Department of Engineering, to the zoning officer. I believe we did note in the report to the board that there was a proposed driveway width around 28 feet. Is that right, Mr. Fernandez? About 28 feet or something like that. And we did not object. We also pointed out it was made up of pervious pavers at that time. So it won't generate as much stormwater runoff as if it was all macadam. If that's still the case. At one point, the plan pervious pavers.
I would like, well, my site plan still shows the pavers in the parking area. Then the driveway apron, the depressed curb cut, is at 20 feet.
20 feet, all right. So.
And the reason for that is to, again, this being in the intersection, I believe the 20 feet makes it easier for the cars to be able to move in and out of the site safely, as opposed to a 10-foot. In this particular instance, I don't believe a 10-foot would work.
All right. Well, I believe in the engineer's report that was mentioned, and I believe we did not object. I think we focused in on the 28 feet wide driveway. But besides that, if you exceed the maximum for ease of access, we did not object or to take issue with going with a driveway area on private property of 28 feet, whatever it is, as opposed to 20, which is what you're telling me is out in the public right of way. If I'm correct?
Correct. A 20-foot. We're proposing 20 feet of curb cut in the public right of way.
And that's from bottom of drop curb to bottom of drop curb. You still gotta make a
Correct.
3 transition on either side of that apron to meet full.
Right.
Correct?
Correct.
All right. So I don't know if that answers the zoning officer's questions. Anna?
It does, thank you.
All right, no problem.
Ms. Duma,
Welcome.
commissioners, any other questions or comments? Hearing none. Next witness.
Mr. Chairman, I have no other witnesses.
Oh, okay. In that case, are there any questions or comments from the public?
Seeing none at this time, Chair.
In that case, I need a motion.
So move, Chair.
Make a motion that we're. Second by Commissioner Timmons. Roll call, Madam Secretary.
Commissioner Dyer,
Yes, with the condition.
Commissioner De Silva,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Chair Richardson.
Yes.
So how is it that she now gets,
Yeah,
you know,
so moved. The application been approved. Next item.
Thank you.
CPP 24-49, 415-417 North 11th Street. You're up, sir.
I'm looking for my team. I'm looking for Mr. Roma.
Okay, you changed architects, huh? You're gonna be back and forth?
Mr. Chairman, I have Mr. Gennaro next, and I honestly don't remember who my last one is. It might be George again.
All right.
Good evening again, Noemi Velozzi on CPB 24-49 for the premises at 415-417 North 11th Street. The owner's Fazal Subhan, and if we can have Mr. Roma sworn in, please.
Mr. Beck.
good evening. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give this board shall be truthful?
Yes, I do. My
Thank you.
name is Daniel Angel Roma. I'm a licensed architect and my license is still current.
Thank you.
You're accepted by the board. Please continue.
Thank you.
Mr. Roma, if you could take us to our plans, please.
Sure.
If I may, Chair.
Yes.
Mr. Roma, before you present, can you just confirm the date of the plans you're gonna present, please?
These are our plans that I revised for tonight.
Okay. So, Mr. Villas, you may.
Okay. Can you see it?
Mr. Roma, have these been submitted to
Yes.
the board yet?
No, were submitted as a new three-family, but based on the comments from the engineering department and from the planner from the city, we did some modifications to get it more appropriate.
Mr. Chairman, we'd like these marked into evidence then as Exhibit 1 or A, whichever the board prefers.
Okay.
All right. The property is located in an R2 district. The address is 417 North 11th Street. We have a property that is 45 feet by 100 feet. And my client, what decides to do is to create a new three-family dwelling. We create a new three-family dwelling with only one variance. The only variance that we're going to have is the in previous coverage. And the only reason that we have that variance is because we want to provide 3 parking spaces for this property. And the maximum impervious coverage for a three-family is 70%, and we have 78.2%. We are 8.2% above the requirement. But to mediate this, we are going to propose also permeable pavers on the parking area. Let me go to the site plan. Sorry. Okay. The property, as I said before, is 45 feet by 100. We are proposing a house that is the front yard is prevailing. To my left, I have 1.7 feet, and also on my new three-family, I'm proposing a front yard of 1.7 feet. Here to the left, we're going to have a driveway. Will be a 10-feet driveway that will take us to the back of the property, where we're going to provide a space for 3 parking spaces. As you can see here, there is a different way to show the asphalt, the parking area. In the front, the first 65 feet, where we have the driveway, will be asphalt pavement. And then when we get to the back, where we have the 3 parking spaces, I'm proposing to have a permeable pavers that will reduce the water retention system for this part of the building, the parking area. As you can see before, we didn't have dimensions. Now we have the dimensions. Each parking space will be 8.5 by 18, and then will be 22 feet to turn around. And the other thing that I did is I moved the garbage. The garbage originally were next to the building. Now next to the building, we only have the HVAC units, 1 for each. And second. And what we are proposing in the back is the garbage enclosure, where we're going to have 3 containers for recycling and 3 containers for garbage, 1 for each of the 3 tenants that we're going to have. Let me go now. I don't know why it doesn't go. I'm sorry. Okay, here. Something is not working. Okay. Let me go now to the floor plans. Here is to the left, the floor plan of this new 3-family. We have an access from the front of the property. We come in and we have a living room, connected living, dining, and kitchen area. Then we have a corridor, and we have 3 bedrooms. Each bedroom is 11.4 by 10, 11.4 by 10, and in the back we have the master bedroom 17.4 by 11. The master bedroom will have a full bathroom with 2 sinks, toilet, and bathtub. Also, we have a walk-in closet 5 by 7.2. There is another bathroom on the corridor, and on the floor also we have the mechanical room with a hot water heater and the HVAC unit, and the laundry room with a washer and dryer. The total square feet of this floor is 1,424 square feet with a net area of 1,209. The upper floors, the second floor and the third floor are exactly the same. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, laundry, mechanical room, and a living dining area together. Let me show you how this house will look like. You see here to the left, we have a entrance to the house. We are using a brick on the bottom and then siding and panels on the front facade. We have a 3 section sliding doors, one for each living area on the second and third floor. And on the first floor, we have a window that is a combination of a picture window and casement window. You can see here the driveway that takes us to the back. This is one. This is another view, and I have another one. And this is another view of the 3-family dwelling that we are proposing for tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Roma. Mr. Chairman, I don't have any other questions for Mr. Roma.
There were 3 variances. One variance was in previous, like I said before, we are trying to mitigate that with the permeable pavers. The other variance was the material that we're using for the fence. Let me go back to that. I'm having a little problems.
Mr. Romo, while you get that together, and Chair Richardson, if I may, Mr. Veloso,
Yes.
Mark, the rendering with the 3 photos is Exhibit A2.
Yes, I'm going to give it you tomorrow.
Thank you, Mr.
Yes, Madam Secretary.
One of the variances was because the material of the fencing that I'm using. I changed on these new drawings, and we are having on the side the fence will be chain link fence. The 5 feet high rush iron fence will be on the sides, and in the back we'll keep the vinyl fence 5 feet. Okay, I think that was the variance that we are going to eliminate, and the other variance was about illumination, and we will comply with the code, and we are not going to require variance for illumination.
Thank you, Mr. Roma.
Chair Richardson, I believe that's the end of his testimony.
Hey, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the rendering. Commissioners, board, any questions or comments for the architect?
We have Mr. Traficante's hand up.
Okay.
And then I have a question, Chair.
Okay, we'll go to Mr. Traficante, and then we'll come back to Commissioner James.
Thank you. Do I need to be sworn in again?
Mr.
No,
Trafficante,
you're still on the oath.
once you get sworn in, you're under oath for the entire meeting.
Oh, all right. Thank you. Mr. Roma,
Yes.
two questions requiring testimony.
Yes.
The engineering department's report to the planning board dated August 29th on page 2 Item 3, survey. Survey shows an existing retaining wall and fence that runs along the common property line between subject lot 43, block 590, and the adjoining lot to the east. Applicant shall provide testimony to the board as to who owns this existing fence and retaining wall. What impact will this proposed development have on this existing fence and retaining wall and the adjoining lot to the east? And what will be the disposition of this existing fence and retaining wall? Will it remain, be removed, or be removed and replaced within the subject lot that it belongs to? Should the fence and retaining wall remain where and as is, the applicant should provide further testimony to the board regarding what easements exist between the current property owners of lot 43 and the property owners of adjoining lot 30 to the east to allow this fence and retaining wall to remain where and as is. Can you provide testimony to that? Existing retaining wall and fence, Mr. Roma?
I don't see the retaining wall. I see the fence. The fence, as you, can you see the drawings?
Well, that's a survey, all right.
Yeah, this is the survey. There is a fence. That fence is not on property line. My client will remove the fence and we're going to put a new fence on property line.
What about along the rear property line? It shows a concrete retaining wall.
On the rear, as you can see, there is a building in the back of the property, and the building is all on property line and will remain the same. The concrete retaining wall is on the neighbor's property. It's not in my property. Will remain the way it is.
Because it says 0.1 feet west. I don't see the north arrow. I can't tell from what you're showing where the west is. And if it's to above the rear property line, it's telling you that wall encroaches into the subject lot. If it's below that rear property line, that tells you.
Is the only thing is the retaining wall doesn't say. They then said the chain link fence is 0.1 inch.
Yeah, feet.
0.1 feet. But it's in my property. The fence, that fence.
And if it's sitting on top of that retaining wall, does that also put the wall into the property as well?
The retaining wall is totally on the neighbor's property. It's not in our property, as you can see here.
All right, would your survey will be able to address that? And
Yeah, sure.
Survey to document that from its investigations, that retaining wall is free and clear of the subject lot.
Yes, I will tell the surveyor to certify that the retaining wall belongs entirely on the neighbor's property.
All right. Second question, page 2, item 3, survey, Roman numeral 2. Survey shows an existing chain link fence that crosses over the front property line of the subject lot and extends into the public right of way for North 11th Street by as much as 5.3 feet. Applicant and property owner shall provide testimony to the board as to what approvals, easements they have obtained from the city of Newark to allow for this existing fence encroachment. Should no approvals, easements exist, the engineering department recommends to the board the applicant property owner be required to remove this existing chain link fence from within the public right of way for North 11th Street as a condition of approval. Tell us what's the future disposition of that chain link fence that's shown encroaching? Yeah, in the public.
Yes, you can see now the fence in the front on the sidewalk. All that fence is going to be removed. The entire fence is going to be removed.
All right.
And no fence will be provided for the new tree family.
Oh, in the front?
In the front, no fence.
All right, last question. Are there any items in the engineering department's report to the planning board dated August 29th, 2024 that you cannot address or you take exception to?
No.
So you comply with all these comments?
Yes.
All right, no further questions. Thank you.
Commissioner James, thank you, Mr. Trafficante.
Hi, Chair. He addressed the fence question. Do you have a rendering for the rear yard at all, Mr. Roma?
Well, no, what we have is we have the backyard. Let me see if I can. I'm having a little problems with it. I don't know what happened. Sorry.
Okay, no problem.
It's going. Okay. Let me see. Okay. Here is the rear. What we're going to have is we're going to have a 10-foot driveway from the street coming in, and then we have 1, 2, 3 parking spaces, and each car can turn and go back to the street.
Okay, so
And what we're doing is all these, instead of the asphalt pavement, we're going to have pavers, concrete pavers that will alleviate the problem with the water retention system.
okay, so based on the illustration, 3 cars are allowable in the rear. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay,
1, 2, 3.
got it. Okay. All right, thank you.
Commissioners, any other questions or comments for the architect? Hearing none. Next witness.
Mr. Chairman, we submit.
Okay. In that case, is there any questions or comments from the public?
Yes, we, you don't have we're not seeing none of the, there's a question, one second.
Okay. Let's get that person sworn in, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak.
Good evening. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give this board shall be truthful?
Mr. Becker, not one just yet, 1 second. If you could come off of mute and turn on your camera if you can. Galati, I don't want to say it anymore.
Okay,
Oh, no, there.
there I am. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes. Good evening. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give this board shall be truthful?
I do.
Thank you. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Dwayne Galati. I live at 420 Mount Pleasant Avenue, West Orange, New Jersey. However, I own the building on the corner of First Avenue and 11th, just next to this piece of property.
Okay, you got 3 minutes, sir. Floor is
Okay. Running the driveway that runs parallel with my building. My building, the rear of the building, the lower part of the doors, the rear doors sit about 1.5 to 2 feet lower than that property. And right now on the property line that exists there, there's a berm. And the berm has been there for many, many years, and it keeps all the water from running into my building and against it. So I saw the driveway. Now everything looks beautiful, but they're going to have to, I believe, have some type of either a solid concrete wall or something to retain all the water from that property from entering into mine. Again, I sit almost 1.5 to 2 foot lower than that property. So just taking away, he's now moving he's removing the fence that does sit on his property, and he's reinstalling it on the new property line, which is now even lower, which will be lower on my side, obviously. So that's my concern, is the water that's going to run off of this driveway down into my building and into the back doors of the building. So that's my only concern, is that water, harnessing that water coming off that property, and a retaining wall, obviously, to hold back his property. Once he builds the driveway and all that stuff, he's going to need some type of retaining wall to hold his property up, I would assume. And it seems he has the 3 feet there. It seems the room's there to put a retaining wall, a solid retaining wall of some sort. So I don't have the water problem. Of course, his drainage off the roofs and stuff, as long as he keeps it from running my way. Because that's why the berm is there now, to stop the water from running my way. That's my only concern.
Understood. Thank you so much for your concerns. Mr. Veloz, you want to address this issue?
Mr. Chairman, I believe Mr. Roma and my client's engineers will review with the neighbor, and we will do whatever is necessary so that we don't burden our neighbors. He seems like a pleasant gentleman, and hopefully they're neighbors for many years and they're happy. So yes,
Absolutely.
we will definitely take a look into it, and whatever we can do to ease that burden or remove it completely, we will gladly do, Mr. Chairman.
So a wall would be considered?
It's not going to be a wall. What you have is you have 3.5 feet from the property line to the curb. We're going to have a curb that goes from the front of the property all the way to the back. This curb will keep the water inside of his property. The only water that you're going to have is the water from rain on your property, because we have 3.5 feet of grass, and then we have a curb. The curb will hold the water that will go on the driveway and from the parking area. All this water will go to the water retention system that we're proposing for this building, and then will go to the curb. Means
So
that
then-
no water will be
Okay,
on
so
your
then the
property.
property from the curb will be on a 45-degree angle down to my property? Oh, well, actually, it'd have to be on an angle, because if I'm 2 feet lower than your curb, you have 3 feet, so that's gonna have to come, something's gonna have to hold back your dirt at your chain link fence. I'm gonna be a foot lower than that, 1.5 feet lower. So there has to be something to hold the dirt back. Are you gonna put it on a 45 to my grade from the curb down to my grade? How are you gonna, if your chain link fence gonna drop?
We're going to provide the client for the curb that will hold the water on our property and are not going to affect you on your property.
No, I'm talking about the dirt. How are you gonna retain the dirt?
We're
You're
going to
gonna run-
remove some of the dirt also.
Yeah. So the dirt will go on a slant from your curb down on an angle to meet below my door level on my side. So you're not.
Will be
running-
grass.
Yes, but it'll be on a.
The only water that there's no water going to your property. Will be. We have a fence also on that property.
I understand that. I just want to know what the ground is
So
going to appear.
I think this is, the attorney said he's willing to sit down with you and you
Oh,
guys.
that's fine. Yeah. Yeah.
You can't
That's
work it out tonight at this
Okay.
meeting, but you guys definitely need to exchange, information.
Okay.
So you can sit down, so,
Yeah.
and he referenced that he doesn't want to burden you and nobody, he wants you to be good neighbors.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Oh, we are
you
good
guys
neighbors. Very good
Yeah,
neighbors.
you guys have figured out. These are good guys.
Oh,
and
it's a
we would
simple.
like
Yeah, it's going to be a
to
simple
stand
fix. It's a
Yeah.
simple fix.
So we'll make sure that we get your information. If you can
Okay.
put it in the chat.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Madam Secretary, are there any other persons from the public wishing to speak?
Seeing none, Madam Chair.
In that case, I need a motion.
Chair, so
Move Commissioner James, who's second?
Second.
Commissioner Timmons. Roll call, Madam Secretary.
Commissioner Bio.
On the same day, different games.
Please mute your device.
Commissioner Timmons.
Yes.
Commissioner De Silva. Yes. Commissioner Baez. I think we may. Yes, okay. Commissioner James.
yes.
Chair Richardson.
Yes, application's been approved. Madam Secretary, Mr. I think it's the latte.
Yes, I'm gonna send it.
You see it? Okay, all right. Make sure you send it to Mr. Veloz so that they can get together and work out that water runoff.
I got it, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Okay, excellent. All right, Mr. Veloz, CPB 24-48 399 Walnut Street. Floor is yours.
My secretary, I'm sorry, Mr. My server was, I had my.
Okay, you voting yes or no? You voting yes?
Yes, yes.
Okay, excellent. Got you. Mr. Veloz.
I'm waiting for your, Mr. Gennaro.
He has his name as Mr. Veloz. So
Oh, he's in my office, Madam Secretary, yeah.
I'm gonna change his name. Can you spell his name for me, please?
First name Jose, Jose, last name Gennaro, Genarro, I think.
Okay. They're both on Mr. Veloz. Oh.
Is he, do we
Okay.
have? Okay.
Sorry, I had to set Mr. Gennaro up.
No
Good evening, everyone. Noemi Velozzi on behalf of application CPB 24-48. The premises is 399 Walnut Street. The applicant is 399 Walnut LLC. We have two witnesses, Mr. Khan and Mr. Gennaro. If we can have Mr. Gennaro sworn in.
Good evening, Mr. Gennaro. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give this board shall be truthful?
Okay. Sorry, I'm on now.
All right. Once again, do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give this board shall be truthful?
I do.
Thank you. Briefly, your name and affiliation to this application.
Yes, my name is Jose Gennaro, Gennaro, and I'm a registered architect and planner of the state of New Jersey, and my license is current.
You're accepted by the board. Please continue.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Gennaro, if you could take us through the plans, please.
Sure. Okay, does everybody see this? Not working? Yeah.
Let me see.
Oh, I do. I am. Chair down there. We're good now? Okay. Sorry about that. All right, I'm going to start out describing a little bit of this property. It's a 25 by 93.5 lot. It's slightly under 25 by 100, 2,337 square feet. The house, the existing house right now is a 2.5 story, 2 levels and an attic. When we measured the house, there were 3 units in the house. one in the first floor, one in the second, and one in the attic. And that's the way my client purchased the property. But as far as zoning, legally, it's a two-family house. So what we're proposing to do to this, the house is very old, outdated. It's need of a lot of repairs. So my client decided that he's gonna pretty much gut it and expand it because it's a small house as well compared to other neighboring houses. So what we're going to do is put a three-story addition. The attic will become a third floor. And also what we're doing on the right side of the house, and this might be testified by Mr. Khan, the engineer, we currently have only a 1.6 feet side yard, which is not enough to be able to access the back of the property. So we're going to slice off a piece of the house to be able to have a 3.5 side yard on that side. So going through the plans, the first floor, the plans are pretty much identical every level. It's going to be 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms at each level. I'm sorry. Okay, just going to
Excuse me,
try
Mr.
to enlarge it a little bit so that you could see it better.
Mr. Gennaro?
Yes.
Excuse me, Chair Richardson, if I may. Are these plans different from the ones submitted to the board?
No, they're not. They're exactly what was submitted to the board.
Because the plans that the board have a revision date, the ones you're presenting don't. So I'm just trying to make sure it's the same thing.
Okay. So you're going to come in from the front entrance, and to your left, you're going to have the entrance to the first unit, the ground floor unit, which will be one big open area, living room, dining room, kitchen. And in the rear, which is pretty much the addition, you'll have the 3 bedrooms. Each of the bedrooms, the smallest one is 10.6 by 12.3. The other one is 11.6 by 12, and the master is 14.11 by 15. The master bedroom has a master bath with a double vanity and a walk-in closet. There's also going to be a combination laundry utility room for each unit and another full bath for the other 2 bedrooms. And what I want to clarify, I'm going to go to the basement now. And part of it is our mistake and the numbers and the square footages. The basement is not being expanded. The only thing, the addition is not going to have a basement. So whatever is existing, it's going to remain. And it's going to be used for the landlord to be given to storage space for the tenants. And that's about it. And whatever meters, utilities for the sprinkler system and all that.
Excuse me, Mr. Gennaro, can we just, okay. I'm sorry, Commissioner Bias had dropped off.
Okay, sure. So I'm going to go then to the elevations, which is sheet P1. We have the front elevation which is going to be pretty much entirely brick with some metal panels up on the 3rd floor. Sliding doors into Juliet type balconies. And the other sides will be fiberglass shingles and vinyl sided and plaster at the bottom. Another thing that that came up in the report, planner's report, is the transparency. We didn't have the numbers listed properly, but we do comply with the transparency for the front, the right side, and the rear. The left side is on the property line, so we can't have windows there. I also have, actually, I wanted to show you, I have a rendering. That is what so you can get an idea of the colors that we're thinking about and, you know, what the improvement to the house. I had, actually, I have a photo of the existing front of the house. That's what it looks like right now. And I want to make it clear also that the fire escapes will be gone. And, you know, most of the front is going to change. Look at the front. It's not working.
Seeing what you're seeing.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay, stop share.
Stop share. Okay.
Okay, go to share.
Share.
Now, click on whichever one you're in.
Okay. You have it on now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I was saying it's, you can see it's mostly brick and metal panels up on top because that third floor is actually a 1 foot overhang. It comes out beyond the wall for 1 foot. And on the right side, currently there's a commercial building, garage, and I believe it's a 2-family on the left side of the property.
Mr. Gennaro, one of
Yes.
Traficante's concerns was as to the steps that they are encroaching. Can you tell the board what we've done to try to minimize that?
Yes, after looking at that, we're going to be able to change the step orientation. Instead of going straight into the house, we're going to go in from the side, from the left side. So, and then we'll be able to encroach only 1.5 foot, which is what we're allowed to encroach. Because the property is already a 1.5 foot setback from the property line. So we're just going to go another 1.5 foot so we can have a 3 foot wide platform. And the steps are going to come in from the side. So there'll be no, the encroachment will only be 1.5 foot, which is what we allow based on the ordinance. And
So
there'll be no fire escape. So that encroachment is gone.
So you're gonna have to modify, obviously, the rendering and the plans to
Right.
show the new stairs, correct?
Correct. Yes, we can do that.
And when will you be able to submit that to the secretary?
In a few days. I mean, it's in 1 week, I guess. Yeah, as soon as possible. Yeah,
Thank you, Mr. Gennaro.
no problem.
Mr. Velosi, can we still mark this rendering as exhibit A1, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I don't have any other questions for Mr. Gennaro.
In that case, commissioners, any questions or comments for the architect?
Mr. Trafficante has his hand raised.
Mr. Trafficante, you're still on the oath, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Gennaro. For the record.
Yes.
And I did believe I called you about this a couple months back. You're now testifying that the stairs are gonna be relocated on the side yard now instead of the front?
No, no, they're still going to be in the same position. The 2 steps are going to come in from the side. So you're just going to have a platform and 2 steps coming in from the side. So it won't encroach as much. And actually these steps, you know, it's the way we depicted it. It seems like we built them. They're there already. We just alter them and, you know, make it look to match the building. But the truth is what we're going to come up with, we're going to encroach 1.5 foot into the right of way. So.
All right, well, granted, it's a lot less than what you were proposing, and you were proposing to remove and replace at one point in time, either same size stairs or something slightly larger. Now you're saying it's going to be less of an encroachment, but still an encroachment. Is that correct?
That is correct, yeah, but based on the planner's report, we're allowed the 1.5 encroachment.
All right, well, yeah, but it's still
based on the width of the street.
Oh, all right. But it still raises concern about liability, does it not? Basically, if somebody falls on those stairs, they don't only go after the property owner, they can also go after the city. Because somebody could argue those stairs are encroaching and should not have been in the public right of way. So I would like to know what your client's proposing to do to indemnify the city from litigation if you insist on having an encroachment.
I'm not familiar with those rules. I don't know. Legally, I don't know what that means. You know,
If I might, Mr. Chairman, I think that's a response from the attorney, whether it's appropriate or not.
Mr. Veloz?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Trafficante, we will sit down with the city to see what if anything is needed from the city, any waivers of liability or any documentation signed to protect the city as against the encroachment.
And you will still be able to provide a minimum 5-foot wide sidewalk and still provide a city shade tree in the public right of way, even with this 1.5-foot encroachment? Is that?
Yes, and Mr. Khan will be testifying into that. He's coming in next and he'll talk about that, but we can do that. We'll be able to do that.
All right. No, oh, yeah, okay. So no easements exist. You're gonna replace them. Now it's gonna be less of an encroachment, but still 1.5 feet. But you agree to meet with the city professionals, whether it be legal, whoever, to discuss what needs to be done to protect the city. Is that correct, Mr. Velosi, Mr. Gennaro?
That is correct, Mr. Trafficante.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Trafficante. Commissioners, any other questions or comments for the architect? Hearing none. Next witness.
Chair, one quick one on my end, John.
Mr. Barry.
Thank you. Mr. Gennaro, could you please just confirm the dates on the drawings that you were presenting?
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
The date that you have printed on the drawing that you just presented
yes,
us.
I will. Yes, give me 1 second. It's August the 2nd, 2023, and they were revised June the 4th, 2024.
Thank you, sir.
Revision number 1. Yep.
Thank you. And then one question about the building height.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, I didn't clear that up.
Clarify the height for us, please.
Yes, I'm showing it currently. It's not correct. It should be the highest roof. And I know we'll still meet the 36-foot height. It's just that it's showing the roof has 2 heights, a front part and a rear part. So I should go to the highest and the average of the grade. So yeah, it's we're gonna adjust that, and I made sure that we're gonna meet the 36-foot height max.
Okay, as long as you're 36 feet or less, I don't want you to have to come back.
Yes, no, we will. We will.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barry. Next witness.
Mr. Chair, if we can have Mr. Khan sworn in.
Mr. Beck.
Good evening. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give shall be truthful?
I do.
Thank you. Please state your name and your affiliation to this application.
Adnan Khan, AWZ Engineering. I'm the project engineer.
Thank you.
Your license is still current, sir?
Yes, it is.
You're accepted by the board. Please continue.
Thank you.
Mr. Khan, if you could take us through the site plan.
Sure. Give me just a minute. Let me share my screen. Okay. I believe you can see the screen. Okay. So as Mr. Gennaro explained that there is an I'm looking at the sheet CO2. The plans are dated May 1st, 2024. So these are the exact same plans that were submitted to the city for their review. And sheet CO2, we are showing the existing conditions or the demolition plan. There is an existing 2.5-story building. In the front, there are some improvements in the back, some trellis and steps and things of that nature, a retaining wall. All these improvements in the back are coming down. And as Mr. Gennaro mentioned, we are redoing the existing structure and adding a 3rd story to that and putting an addition in the back to make a 3-family unit. There are 2 encroachments. One is the fire escape that is in the front, which is going to be removed from within the right-of-way. The second encroachment is an existing steps that currently serves the existing building, which, as Mr. Gennaro testified, currently it's creating encroachment within the right-of-way. But the way we have a plan to, turn around the entrance for this step, and we would be able to provide only a 1.5-foot encroachment rather than what currently exists. One thing I want to note that will relate to a comment from Mr. Trafficante's report. We have a garage building to the east of our property, which runs from the front property line all the way up to the rear property line. So we are basically attached. I mean, we are pretty much, our property line abuts the existing structure, which runs throughout that site. On the other side, on the western side, we have an existing structure which runs, I would say, little more than a halfway on the west side. The reason I bring this up is, like, I believe one of the comment in the engineer's report is that the city would like, or the engineering department would like to see a fence on the side yards and the rear yard. And again, on the rear yard also, we abut a building right to the property line. So we are not proposing any fence because of these structures that currently exist right abutting to the property lines. As far as the site plan, what we are proposing, as I mentioned, the existing structure will be renovated. A third-story addition will be placed on the existing structure. And in addition, we'll have a three-story addition in the rear. As Mr. Gennaro mentioned, that on the eastern side, we are creating a 3.5-foot walkway that will serve the property access to the rear from the front, from the street side. We are also proposing a crash enclosure for the 3 units, which will be fully enclosed with a vinyl 6-foot high vinyl fence. And there are 3 condensing units that have been proposed in the rear as well. In addition, we are proposing a shade tree as required on Walnut Street, and also an additional tree in the rear of the property in the green area. On the western side, the existing building is about a foot setback from the western property. The requirement is 0. So what we are doing is, like, again, we are basically the additional part will be at 0 feet lot line, but the existing structure is at 1 foot from the side property line. The other thing we mentioned, or Mr. Gennaro mentioned, is we are going to change the location of the steps. So instead of steps coming directly in the front of the door, they will be coming on the side, and we'll have a platform in front of the door. So we will reduce the width of that encroachment and restrict it to 1.5 foot. Also, I believe, let's see. One of the comment about the lot coverage, the total lot coverage, the allowable lot coverage is 70%. We are proposing 84.75, which is higher than what is required. But originally, we give the lot coverage based on the old ordinance requirements of the front, rear, and side. But the overall lot coverage will be 84.75% that the applicant is proposing. All the existing utilities to remain and reused, as long as the utility department is okay with them. We are proposing a stormwater detention basin where currently there is nothing existing on the property. It's a detention system in compliance with the city requirements, and we are proposing an overflow pipe connected to the street through a doghouse manhole. And I believe there is a comment about the size of the discharge pipe, which we don't have any issues as far as addressing that comment. We are also proposing light fixtures in the front and the back. The front and the back light fixtures are 10 foot high. Mounting height is 10 feet. And the side fixtures are low height fixtures. The mounting height is 3 feet. And we have a picture, like they are the side. The reason for these lights in the side is just to light up the path, the concrete path, so that it's illuminated for safety and security reasons. And it does comply with the 0.5 requirement. It shows a spillage across the property line, but just mind, as I explained earlier, this is the face of the building that it's going to be shining against, and of course the sidewalk we have on the side. Any other lighting comments? We will comply. We don't have any issues with that. We'll comply with the requirement. And I believe that's about it I have.
Thank you, Mr. Khan.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. Commissioners, any questions or comments for the engineer, for Mr. Khan? Hearing none. Next witness.
Chair Richardson, Mr. Trafficante has his hand raised.
Mr. Trafficante, you're still on the oath, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Khan, just for the record, can you comply with all the comments in the engineering department's report to the board dated September 17, 2024, except for what I believe is item number 4, Roman number 1, which has to do with fencing, and item
That
number
is
4,
correct.
and item number 4, Roman number 11, which has to do with the encroachment. You're seeking a 1.5 foot encroachment, but you agree to meet with the city's professionals, legal and otherwise, to discuss what requirements or approvals then your client needs to obtain from the city to allow for this 1.5 foot encroachment.
That is correct.
Otherwise, you can comply with all the other comments in the engineer's report to the board?
Yes, we can.
All right, no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trafficante. Board, any questions or comments? Hearing none. Next witness.
Mr. Chair, we submit.
Okay, in that case, are there any questions or comments from the public?
Seeing none at this time, Chair.
In that case, I need a motion.
So moved, Chair.
Moved by Commissioner James.
Second,
Second by Commissioner Baez. Roll call, Madam Secretary.
Commissioner Simmons? Commissioner Simmons?
Yes.
Commissioner De Silva?
Yes.
Commissioner Baez?
yes.
Commissioner James?
Yes.
Chair Richardson?
Yes, application has been approved. Good luck.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay. CPB 24-29 677-679 North Fifth Street.
Mr. Veluzzi, do you still need Mr. Gennaro?
I do not need Mr. Gennaro. I need Mr. Fernandez.
He's on. He's there, Mr. Veluzzi.
Once again, good evening, everyone. Noemi Velozzi on behalf of application CPB 24-29 for 677-679 North Fifth Street. The applicant is Wisdom Construction LLC. And if we can have Mr. Fernandez sworn in once again.
Good evening, Mr. Fernandez. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give this board should be truthful?
I do.
Thank you. Once again, just briefly, your name and affiliation.
Jorge Fernandez, FERNANDES, registered architect.
You're accepted by the board. Please continue, sir.
Thank
you. Mr. Fernandez, if you could take us through the plans, please.
Sure. Well, attached, here's the plans that were submitted to the board. We have a existing parcel that is 50 by 100 foot deep, and it's currently developed with a 2-story, 2-family house, and that will be demolished, and we are proposing a multifamily building to be built in its place. The multifamily building will have a 0 front yard property setback. We'll have 3 feet on the south side, 0 feet on the north side, and we'll have 15 feet of rear yard in the rear. We are showing a small office in the front that will also be used as an area to drop off packages, mail, and it would also be used as a rental office by the operator of the building. And we'll have a driveway, a garage that gives access to the parking area of the building, where we're providing 3 parking spaces, one of them being handicap accessible. The area is a C1 zone where under 1,250 linear feet to the Davenport light rail station. Therefore, no parking is required for this building. The owner wanted to provide some parking, and being that we are going to have a handicap accessible unit, I think we needed to provide a parking space for somebody in the event that they were physically handicapped. So that handicap accessible unit is on the ground floor of this building, as this will not be a building serviced by an elevator, and it will be in the rear of the building, facing the rear yard. I'll go into it when I show the floor plan. We have garbage and recycling also within the building, and of course the utility room. And the garage exhaust will be exhausted with a fan that goes up to the roof of the building, and any gases will be taken out, of course, because this is an enclosed garage. We are providing lighting on the inside, on the front, and on the side and rear of the property. And we do have a grass area in those 15 feet rear yard to be used by the tenants of the building. There's a stair, second means of egress, that can be used by the tenants from the upper floors to access that rear yard area for recreation. The floor plans I have here, the first floor plan, again, to show the handicap accessible apartment. That's a 2-bedroom, 900 square feet. We have 2 bedrooms, living area, handicap accessible bathroom, and laundry and storage area for the tenant. The upper floors, we're going to have 5 units on the second and 5 units on the third. So making this essentially an 11-unit dwelling unit building. We'll start in the front where we have a 2-bedroom apartment, 900 square feet. It also has 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, kitchen, and a laundry facility. And behind that, we have 4 1-bedroom apartments, 650 square feet. They all have their own laundry closet, bathroom, living area, and bedrooms. The bedrooms are essentially 145 square feet, and every space has at least 2 windows to bring light and air into it. We chose to have our corridor on the side that was on the property line because there were no windows permitted to be installed at the property line, therefore allowing the space, the other side yard, to have all the windows and the rear and front as well. We have here the front, the elevations. Again, we have a 3-story building, garage door, the entrance to the office, and another separate entrance for the stair. We have fiber cement panel and brick masonry. That will be the materials for the building. And then we have siding on the sides and rear. The ground floor will be masonry as well, and we will have some windows for the garage to bring light into the garage, and also, of course, windows into the apartment on the ground floor. Our percentages are 35% for the front and 20% for the rear. We have 20% for the one side and 0% on the side that's on the property line, as that's not permitted. I believe there are some variances that are to be addressed. One of them being the 30-foot rear yard that's required, where we're proposing 15 feet. And I believe that variance has to do with us trying to provide some parking, and therefore the building is set back 15 feet as opposed to 30. And the lot coverage, where by the building where 70% is permitted, we're proposing 80, so that's a 10% difference. And then maximum impervious lot coverage, where 75% is permitted, we're proposing 89. I believe that we're offered enough rear yard area to be used as a amenity space. We have some variances, but we're also trying to provide some parking for this building, and also a larger handicap accessible apartment on that ground floor. And that pretty much concludes my testimony, and I'm open to any questions.
Mr. Fernandez, do you have a rendering?
I do.
Can we see it?
Yes. I believe this was submitted to the board. Again, this is the rendering. We have the building, again, masonry brick, the composite panel, and glass for the entry doors, and brick masonry on the ground floor.
Now, George, I just have a few other questions for you from
Sure.
the planner's report. How many stories could we have gone up here in the C2?
In terms of building height, I mean, if you go into the requirement, I believe it starts at 5 stories.
But what you built here conforms more to what surrounds it, doesn't it?
Yes, we were predominantly surrounded by 3-story dwelling units, 3 families.
So this fits in.
I believe so.
Okay. And part of the reason we need all these variances is because we didn't go up higher, because we could have went higher to spread out the units and maybe diminish the floor print, but then it would have stuck out, correct?
It would have been higher than the neighboring buildings.
Right. Now, the planner also had some questions for you as to the garbage and how we're going to keep it contained to just our building.
Well, the trash will be brought into that trash room and recycling area inside the building. And I believe the building management will be responsible for making sure it goes to the curb on pickup days.
Okay. And who's going to have access to both the side and the rear yards? Just the tenants?
Yes, the tenants of the building.
Are we able to meet all the tree requirements that the city is requesting, or no?
Because of the driveway, we're only going to be able to plant 1 street tree.
Okay. So obviously we're going to pay into the fund, correct?
Yes.
And he also asked if there's going to be an access to a gate which leads to the side and the rear yard entrances. Oh, I already covered that. Sorry, George.
Yes, we are proposing a gate for that, and the tenants will of course have access, and because they'll also have access to the rear yard through the second stair in the rear of the building.
Okay. What about bicycle parking spaces?
That could be accommodated within the parking area. We have a space that would be able to accommodate 11. I mean, we have 11 units. We can accommodate 11 bikes.
Mr. Barry also asked you about insufficient illumination along the pedestrian walkways.
The illumination can be increased to the city standard.
And the ground floor office is going to be utilized by the owner as a rental office?
Yes, the owner operator wants to use it as a rental office.
Mr. Fernandez, have you looked at the city's water and sewer memorandum?
Yes.
Do we have any issues with any of that?
No.
Okay. Have you also looked at the engineering report?
I have.
Okay. Any issues?
No.
Mr. Chairman, I have no other questions of Mr. Fernandez.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Traficante, you got your hand up?
Yes, sir.
All right, floor is yours.
Thank you. If I could get the camera on. All right. Mr. Fernandez,
Yes,
You are proposing one handicap accessible parking space, correct?
correct.
Doesn't that have to be van accessible?
Yes, it does.
Okay, and how big of a space you got there now? 8 and 5? 8's wide for the space itself and 5 for the hatched area next to it?
Correct.
For van accessible, if I'm not mistaken, does it have to be 11 feet wide with a 5-foot hatched area or 8 and 8?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Is that something you could revise the plans to
Yes, we
address?
can.
Okay. Will you lose a parking space to do that?
You would essentially, I would just have to rearrange the trash area.
All right.
I believe I can make that work.
All right, all right. And still keep the 3 you're showing, right?
The three spaces.
And how many electrically charged vehicle spaces do you need? 1 or more?
I believe we'll need one to start, and but because they come in pairs, we
Yeah.
might as well just give it to the handicap parking space and the space right next to it.
All right. All right. 3 questions. In the engineering report to the board dated September 17th, on page 2, item 4, survey plan. Applicant shall provide testimony to the board as to how they intend to dig to remove the existing retaining wall found on site and construct foundations for the new building along the common property line to the north, the adjoining lot 10, respectively, without disturbing the existing foundations and structures within lot 10 to the north. Can you address that? How do you plan to remove that retaining wall without undermining the neighboring property?
Well, I believe the neighboring property is set back from the property line about 3 feet. So we should be able to remove the retaining wall and construct our new building wall that will serve the same purpose.
How high is that existing retaining wall? Is it 3 feet or less?
It looks like it's about 3 feet.
3 might be more though. Could be.
Yeah, more in certain sections.
Yeah, all right. So there is a potential that you may lose all that adjoining soil when you remove that and thereby disturb the existing foundation on the not to the north.
As a best practices, I believe when in the removing retaining walls, you should do it in sections, preferably 5 foot, 10 foot, or 10-foot sections, and rather than removing the whole wall in one shot, and that would keep this from happening.
As a condition of approval, would your client be willing to have your site contractor hire a structural engineer, structural/geotechnical engineer, to submit a statement of excavation to the building department outlining how he plans to go about, or she plans to go about, removing this wall without damaging adjoining properties? Is that some?
Absolutely.
All right. All right. 2 more questions. Okay. On page 3 of the report, under item 4, survey plan, Roman numeral 7. Survey shows an existing chain link fence that crosses over the rear property line of the subject lot and to adjoining lots 26 and 27, block 663, located to the east. Applicant shall provide testimony to the board as to who this existing fence belongs to. Should it belong to the applicant property owner of the subject lot, applicant shall provide additional testimony to the board as to what approvals they have secured from the property owners of adjoining lot 26 and 27 to allow for this existing fence encroachments. Should no approvals easements exist, applicant shall provide further testimony to the board as to the future disposition of this existing fence encroachment should the board approve this application. Can you address that?
Yes. I believe that fence is in the neighbor's property. However, my client wants to install a new privacy fence for his rear yard, so I believe he will work with him to get that replaced.
So is it the neighbor's fence or your client's fence?
As per the survey, I believe it's the neighbor's fence.
Fence belongs to the neighbor as far as you know.
Yes.
But you're willing to relocate it and your client's willing to work with the neighbor to do so.
That's correct.
Okay, last question. Page 3, item 4, Survey plan, Roman numeral 8. Survey indicates an existing staircase and landing in front of the subject lot that encroaches into the public right-of-way for North Fifth Street. Applicant property owner shall provide testimony to the board as to what approvals they have secured from the city of Newark to allow this existing staircase and landing to encroach into the public right-of-way for North Fifth Street. Should no approvals exist, the applicant property owner shall provide additional testimony to the board as to the future disposition of this existing staircase and landing should the board approve this application. Can you address that?
Yes, I believe those are for the existing house that will be demolished, and they're going to be removed.
All right, and you're gonna backfill with DGA crushed stone and 12-inch lifts, maximum 6 to 12-inch lifts, and come back to 95% optimum density, so there's no settlement when you put the sidewalk back?
Correct.
All right. No further questions. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and Mr. Velozzi, did you not, at the beginning of the testimony, agree to comply with all the conditions of the engineering report?
We did.
Yeah, okay. So, Mr. Velozzi, I guess it's not my place to step in, but if we agreed to that, then I don't know why we went through this exercise for the last 5 minutes, but that's just me.
No, that's a good point, Mr. Beck.
Chair, if I may,
Any
one
questions?
question.
Mr. Barrett.
Yes, Mr. Fernandez, the elevation drawings you provided show the building just basically on a flat plane, but there's about a 5 or so, maybe 6 foot elevation change from the front to the back of the lot. Could you just explain how the building foundation is going to change the access to the side door and everything, and is going to be accomplished?
Sure. I'm sorry. From the front to the back of the property.
So I'm looking at the existing property survey at your grading plan.
Right.
You've got a slope, and I've been to the property, so I mean I can attest to that. The property is higher at the sidewalk than it is at the back of the lot. It slopes down.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Right,
on
so,
your elevation drawing, you're just showing a building straight flat across, but there's got to be some slope to the foundation, I assume.
Yes, and so in other words, your finished floor will be coming in at the sidewalk level in the front, and then once you get to the rear, it'd still be above the rear yard by about 2 feet. So that's why we have steps back there.
I'm just looking at the side door primarily. Do you have I can't quite tell what you have going on with the side door.
The side door, sure. Yeah, the side door over here. So essentially, we have a slope within our driveway, our drive aisle, and it's going to be about a foot elevated above the walkway on the side. So there'll be a step there.
Okay, I just didn't see the step. That's what I was just trying to.
Also in the rear of the property.
Okay.
From that stair. So yeah, correct. The lot does drop off towards the back, and we'll address it this way.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good, Mr. Barry?
Yep, all set. Thank you.
Excellent. Commissioners, any questions or comments? Hearing none. Next witness.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to save you from any more time tonight. No other witnesses.
Madam Secretary, are there any persons from the public who wishing to speak?
Seeing none at this time, Chair.
In that case, I need a motion.
Moving it.
I'll
Moved by
second it.
Commissioner Baez, second by Commissioner De Silva. Roll call, Madam Secretary.
Commissioner Timmons, Was that a yes? We didn't catch it.
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Baez,
Commissioner Baez,
Yes.
okay. Commissioner De Silva,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Commissioner James,
I'm gonna give him a call.
absent.
Well, we
No,
need,
we can't mark him absent.
I'm giving him a call now, Chair Richardson. Commissioner James,
Yes.
Chair Richardson,
Yes. That was a long yes, bro. Just saying.
My apologies, Chair.
All right. Application's been approved. Good luck.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Commissioner Timmons, sound like you were underwater, man. Somewhere blowing bubbles, bro.
It's probably it's this connection.
Yeah, it's terrible. Just saying.
That's why we need more money so I can get a new laptop.
you are still on record for minutes.
All right. We have minutes from what, for October 9th and September 19th?
Wait a minute, we have Commissioner James dropped off.
What happened when that happened though, when it got dropped off? What does that mean?
We no longer have a quorum.
Oh, Lord. It's no good. Well, you want that new car right there? I can give you that car cheap.
Commissioner Baez, please mute your device.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So Commissioner James is not answering. I'll try him one more time.
Is the only thing left minutes?
Minutes and memorialization. I think we should be good.
We have another meeting coming up before we know it.
What you say?
So we have another meeting coming up before we know it.
Yes, we do. I know we need a quorum for the resolutions and the minutes, so
Yeah.
Mr. Beck, you direct us.
Who's missing?
Commissioner James is no longer with us on the meeting. Oh, that's on my back.
I guess we should have held him on the line. Let me try him.
I
And
just
just so as out of curiosity, next week we have 2 extensions and 8 applications.
well, before we get into that, because we are still on the record for this meeting, so I don't want to, because we're still being recorded.
All right. Well, I figured I'd utilize our time. Jay, we need you to jump back on the call. Thanks. All right. I got him.
Okay.
You
He's
did
gonna
good.
dial in.
We do have a long agenda next week though, but
Yeah, you will.
so just for the public that's waiting, we're just waiting for a commissioner to jump back on so we can finish out the agenda.
You say you got it, Mr. Beck?
Listen, I can only tell you what I can tell you,
Did
and
he
I'm
get
gonna do it
away?
again.
It's like the big one that got away when you went fishing, right?
Listen, he may still be on his honeymoon, and I never step between a man and his wife. That was me.
I'm not touching that.
You smart man.
There he goes, Mr. Beck.
There we go. Thank you.
Okay. So,
All right, so we have minutes from August 19th and September 9th. Everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes. Any concerns, corrections? Hearing none, need a motion to accept the minutes.
So move.
Moved by Commissioner Timmons, who's second?
I'll second it.
Second by De Silva. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So move. Mr. Beck, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. The following resolutions need to be memorialized that were approved.
Please mute your device.
And they are CPB 2416 217-225 4th Street, CPB 24-3485 Spruce Street, and lastly, CPB 24-55 3440 Hudson Street. All of those resolutions and applications were approved, and all those commissioners that voted affirmatively are permitted to memorialize same. Otherwise, acknowledge your non-acceptance.
Thank you, Mr. Beck. And so the next meeting is October 7th. And just to put you on notice, Madam Secretary, I think I may have a conflict. I'm trying to work it out, but I'll get back to you before the meeting.
okay. Thank you for letting me know.
Yeah. All right. Have a good evening, everyone.